Welcome to the Minnesota Rovers Tuesday evening presentation. Minnesota Rovers is an outdoors club based in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Our members organize trips that range from 1 hour to 2 weeks in Minnesota or further afield. Examples of our activities include hiking, biking, backpacking, skiing, snowshoeing, paddling, and rock climbing. We also organize conservation and trail clearing trips. Our members have experience and skills in many outdoor activities, so if you want to learn a new outdoor activity, we can probably help you. For more information, go to mnrovers.org. Now let's move on to this week's presentation.
Welcome to the fall 2023 intro show, Minnesota Rovers intro show. My name is Stacy Grimes, and I am the president this year. I have the honor of serving and the honor tonight of telling you about our fabulous club. So tonight, our agenda is relatively simple. We'll talk about who we are, what the club is, ways that you can engage and connect with the group and members, some of the benefits of becoming a member, quite a few, and we'll talk about those. We'll also have a slideshow which Jen has put together, and it's really a fun 10 or so minutes showing some of the many trips and activities that have happened over the last year or so. And then at the very end, we will have an opportunity for you to go into some different breakout rooms to talk about activities with some of the folks who have offered to staff those breakout sessions. So who are we? The Minnesota Rovers is a not-for-profit outdoor social club. We were created back in 1974, and so we will actually be celebrating our 70th anniversary next summer. And so we have actually started talking about how we want to recognize that. We will actually also start planning for our 75th, which will happen in 2029, I guess. We are a collaborative membership effort, as our publicity director terms us. We are 100% volunteer driven. So everything that happens is done by our members who volunteer their time in many, many different ways to help the club run. And you'll hear about some of those different activities and opportunities for contributing to the club in a little bit. We offer trips throughout the year. And by trips, I mean both just a day trip, like a hike or a bike ride, but also weekend trips or longer, a couple weeks overseas. And they generally are fairly inexpensive because they are cost shared. No one's making any money. So when Suresh does a weekend up to Long Lake Conservation Center, he's doing that because he wants to share that experience with other members. Our activities, okay, range from local to international. We have folks in South Dakota right now this week, and they range from beginner to advanced, all skill levels. So no matter where you are on the ladder for whatever your activity is, you'll probably find someone to do things with. They also, as I mentioned, vary in length. So they could just be a 2-hour hike, weekend, or a couple weeks in, say, England. So I mentioned that we are a volunteer-led club, and there are many different ways to engage as a member with the group. You can come to a Tuesday evening meeting. We meet every Tuesday and have a presentation. So we talk about our trips, and then we have a presentation every Tuesday. So during the summer, we meet in person, and then starting tonight now, we've gone back online to Zoom, and every second Tuesday, we will actually meet as a hybrid, both in person and online. You can also join or coordinate a trip. So, if you want to go hiking somewhere, feel free to coordinate it yourself or go online and find something that looks of interest. You can volunteer. We have many, many different ways of volunteering. If you see an opportunity that looks of interest, feel free to jump in. We're always interested in welcoming new people. We also have a members only e-group. And so that's an email group. So if you join it, people can write to this one address, and then it goes out to everybody that's on it. And that e-group also has a gear swap subgroup, so that if you have things in the basement or the closet that you want to get to a new owner, you can use that subgroup. And then finally, we are also on Facebook Meetup and post our presentations to YouTube. And of course, we've got our website, mnrovers.org. I mentioned our Tuesday meetings, and we meet every Tuesday at 7. We go through, normally, we go through our trips. People talk about the trips that have gone out recently, and then our trips coordinator, trips director will talk about trips that are coming up. And then after that, we have a presentation. It might be a member talking about a trip that they went on recently, or it could be something about the moose population and the moose and wolf population on Isle Royale. They are Zoom starting tonight, as I mentioned, through April. But on the second Tuesday, from October through April, we will be meeting at the Hennepin Avenue United Methodist Church in Minneapolis. It's right off 94. And socializing afterwards at a local brewery, La Doña. And so it'll be a really nice way to see people in person. If you want to come in person and actually meet people and talk with people, those in-person meetings are really a nice way to connect with folks. And then starting next May, we will be back outside at Como Park in St. Paul. I mentioned that we do presentations on Tuesdays, and here you'll see some of them that are coming up. We will have a Border to Border Ski Finland. I think that's one of our board of directors who's doing that, and then you can see the rest of them for the next month or so. And so if you are interested in doing a presentation, or if you know of someone or some topic that would make a really good presentation, send it to presentations@mnrovers.org. We'd love to get more ideas. And I will also say most of our presentations from the past have been posted up to YouTube. So if you miss something, you can go to YouTube and look for it. We have our own channel. One of the benefits of being a member is that we have an equipment locker. It's located at 280 and Como, so really convenient to both St. Paul and Minneapolis. And what you see here in the photo this is actually the gear locker. And so you can see we've got canoes and kayaks and stoves and backpacks and all the stuff that you see listed here and more. This is just a small sample of what we have. And so if you are a member and you go on a Posted Rovers trip, like what you see on our website, you can borrow any of this gear for free, no cost, for that trip. And so that's really a nice option if you want to try out, say, backpacking, but you don't want to necessarily invest a lot of money right up front until you know you really like it. So let's go on. I mentioned that we have a real wide range of skills. And so you will actually find beginner-friendly trips, things that are specifically meant for people who are new to something like climbing or say bike packing. But you'll also find more advanced challenges like a 5-day backpacking trip up on the Border Route Trail, which is a little rugged. And so all kinds of skill levels and all kinds of sports. From summer and fall through winter into spring. So we do things year round. We do basically divide our trips into day activities and overnight trips. And so for our day trips, anyone can come. You don't have to be a member. And we love to have people come and check us out. Find out, what the members are like, the culture's like. Does it feel right to you? And so day trips include things like a hike, maybe at a local park, and that's what you see down here on the left. Hiking, paddling. There you'll see rock climbing at Taylor's Falls. So all kinds of day activities, and those are open to non-members, and you just have to sign a waiver, and that will be part of the sign-up form on the website. We also have biking that happens. You can go to the next slide, Jen. We also have biking that happens, and during the summer, we have Monday night bike rides and Thursday night bike rides. I know those are still continuing. I saw those on the website, but as it's starting to get darker earlier, those will probably start to taper off. But we have had a really active bike program, and I've seen another member posting on Wednesdays. So if you like to bike, we've had a lot of opportunities for that. And then in addition to like just a couple-hour bike ride, we've also had some like bike packing. As you see here, that'll happen later in September. And I know a year ago, some folks biked out to Baker to go to the extravaganza last fall. And so I don't know if that's happening again, but we'll keep an eye out for that. And then I mentioned that we have overnight trips. And so what you see here are some of the upcoming overnight activities that are happening this fall. We actually have a group out in the Black Hills at Custer State Park starting, it says the 17th. That looks like it's full. But that happens every year. So if you're really interested, it's probably going to happen again next year. And that's a multi-sport thing. It started as climbing, but it's expanded into hiking and biking. So it sounds like it's really a lot of fun. And then again, some of these, the rest of these are all on our website, mnrovers.org. And I think most of them are still open. Devil's Lake State Park in Wisconsin, Sylvania Wilderness up in the UP of Michigan. And several of them, as you notice, are multi-sport. And so they're not just one thing. So they're going to hike, one day and paddle another day. And so you kind of get a little bit of everything in there. And then I will also point out that for the last many years, we've had an annual Halloween trip. And this year it will be at Long Lake Conservation Center, which is up, I think, by Cuyuna. And that will be the weekend right before Halloween. So lots of fun, Halloween costume contest. They carve pumpkins. It really is a blast. And now what I would like to do is turn it over to Sue Whitcup to talk about our beginner backpacking program. Sue?
Hey everyone. I wanted to say a few words about our beginner backpacking program. We are just finishing up our third year of this really dynamic, thorough program. It starts with some education. There are 6 sessions that cover a variety of aspects of backpacking. It's followed by a day hike and a gear shakedown where you get to test a pack, see how it feels, learn what to put into that pack. Then we have a one-night trip where you can practice setting your tent and packing some food, things like that. And then a 2-night trip where you actually have to break camp and move to another site. Also on our website is a beginner gear list to help with all that packing. There are some prerequisites to join this program. You do have to be a Rovers member. It's such a full program. So basically that's, you pay for your membership and then you pay your share of the camping. Previous car camping experience is needed and the ability to hike up to 5 miles a day. That picture is a group that I took out a couple of years ago. There are a series of other things you have to do. You have to do a specific education training before you can do a day hike. You have to do the day hike and all the education before you can go on an overnight. I won't go into a lot of details, but I will let you know that we do have someone who graduated from the program that will be in one of the breakout rooms tonight. So if you have questions about that, Rebecca will be able to talk to you more about that. Next slide, please. And as Stacy mentioned, we have equipment in our gear locker, and we specifically spent a lot of money on tents, backpacks, multiple sizes, sleeping bags, jet boils, so folks can borrow these items just to test it out to see if they like backpacking before they invest in all this equipment. And we run the program every year. April, May, we do the training. June, July-ish, we do the day hikes. And then August, September, October, we do the overnight trips. So unfortunately, we are done this year, but keep an eye out on the webpage, our Facebook page, for more information about when we'll be starting the program back up in 2024. Thanks, Stacy.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sue. And one thing I will mention is that not all of the backpacking trips that you see are part of this backpacking program. So if they are part of that backpacking program, then you do have to go through all, those different trainings and so on. But if, a member decides they want to do a backpacking trip up on the Border Out Trail, say, you don't necessarily have to go through all those different steps. So I just want to, clarify that there are those 2 different ways of doing backpacking with the group. So I mentioned, I believe, that we have conservation activities that happen throughout the year. Rovers has a very strong conservation ethic. We want to keep the areas we play in clean. We want to take care of those beautiful natural environments. And so we did just have something that happened today down at Murphy Hanrahan, and coming up on October 3rd, we will have another prairie restoration seed collection down at Crowhassan. And Suresh reminds me that we have Leave No Trace activities and training. We are really starting to do more of that too. Thank you, Suresh. Okay. Next. So another volunteer opportunity, conservation opportunity is our trail maintenance. The Border Route Trail is a 62-mile trail that borders the US. It runs along the US and Canadian border, starting over near Grand Portage and then running west for about 62 miles. And we do spring and fall maintenance trips to maintain that trail. It takes a lot of work, actually. And so there will be a breakout session, and I believe Jen will be answering questions about that if you're curious to know more about the Border Route Trail or the maintenance that's involved. Okay. Okay, and then another way that we contribute to the outdoors community is by volunteering. And so you will see volunteer opportunities throughout the year, both for things that the club needs to do, such as serving on the board or staffing a booth or so on. But we also help with some of the different local nonprofits. And so there is a Free Bikes for Kids, that group that cleans bikes and then gets them out to kids that can't afford them. And so it's just a really great way to contribute to the community. And then we also help with the City of Lake Slope-it, which happens in the winter, and we will staff an aid station for that. Okay, and now I mentioned, I think, that the extravaganza is one of the overnight trips that doesn't require that you be a member, and that is coming up. And I'd like to turn it over to Rosie, who's our events person, to talk about that. Rosie.
Thanks, Stacy. So the extravaganza happens only 2 times a year, so you don't want to miss it. It's in spring as in fall, and it's the Rovers' way of just introducing ourselves to new members. It's a really easy way to figure out what's it like to be a rover? What kind of things do they do? What kind of people are they, with very little sort of stake in it? You don't have to be a member, as already mentioned. It only is like $5 per night to camp. And if you really are skittish, you don't even have to camp. You can just come for one activity or a day, or come every day and then stay at home overnight. So there's many different options in engaging it. Of course, I encourage everybody to stay overnight, because that's a really good way to really get a feel for the community. And it's my way how I got into Rovers. I remember going to a meeting and it was like, yeah, I don't know about this. But then somebody dragged me to an extravaganza, and as soon as I got home, I didn't unpack. I right away signed up for Rovers. And so I'm pretty passionate about this. And what already has been mentioned is that you don't even have to have gear. You don't have to have a tent or a sleeping bag or pad. We can help you with that. And it's a multi-sport event. You see here on the slide, it mentions hiking, biking, paddling, camping, rock climbing, and more. And those are just the staple events. There's usually sort of little ancillary things like a mushroom hike, or looking at the stars with Suresh in an astronomy adventure late at night. And we've had other things like volleyball or various events. Okay, and so a sample schedule of events is we start on Friday evenings with a potluck, and if you really are too busy to do something during the day, at least join us for the potluck and get to know us a little bit. So Friday evening potluck, oftentimes there's a little hike going on. Maybe somebody puts on a bicycle ride. And this is just a sample schedule. At this point, we don't know exactly what's going to happen yet and when, because it's all volunteers. And we're collecting who is jumping in to organize what, as people see, yep, that's what I want to do. And so typically we have activities in the morning and in the afternoon. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter. We usually try to have activities that are suitable for beginners. So as well as sometimes more involved things. So to get a balance between some of our new folks are already experienced in the outdoors but don't know the Rovers yet, and others are looking for that to be sort of their way into the outdoors and meeting people who to do that with. And let me think if there's anything I have forgotten to mention. I would like to encourage you to join me in the breakout room if you have any other questions.
Okay, well, thank you, Rosie, and thank you for working on it. I know you've been spending a lot of time, so thank you for that. I think I've mentioned some of these membership benefits. I've mentioned the cost shared trips. Because they are cost shared, no one's making any money, and so they generally are fairly inexpensive. And then I've talked about the outdoor gear with the gear locker. And so if you're a member and you go on an official trip, you can use that gear for free. A couple other kind of unique benefits are that our trip coordinators have really varied outdoors experience, and they really love to share their knowledge. And so if you ever happen to be on a trip with Suresh, he will share his knowledge about astronomy and you will go away just floored. It'll be amazing. But skiing, biking, people really love to share what they know. We also have, I think I've maybe mentioned our e-group and the Gear Swap subgroup, which is a nice opportunity if you replace your gear and you have something that's sitting in the closet gathering dust. And then we have also put together some member discounts, some vendor discounts, sorry. These are both with local places, but also I think some national places too. So all of this is on the website. The vendor discounts has its own page. And I think the Gear Locker does too. So so check out our webpage. And you may already know this, but I'll mention it. How much does it cost? It's fairly inexpensive. It's $25 a year if you live in the 7-county metro area. So if you're in one of those counties, if you're outside that 7-county metro area or you're a full-time student, then it's $10. So pretty reasonable. And then we have set up auto renewal so that you don't even have to really worry when your time comes to renew. All right, and so here is the really fun part of the evening. It's going to put a smile on your face. Jen has put together the slideshow, and so I think I'll turn it over to you, Jen.
outer space. And I was sprung out from the earth. We laid down face to face to witness our rebirth. And I'm not leaving while you're breathing. I won't run away. They say it won't last, you'll move along, but we're moving too fast. I know they're wrong, 'cause we are like invisible light in the dark. And there's an endless road on the edge of the map, so let's pack our hats in a burlap sack and go. Men stare, women sigh, and children dark their eyes. But we're tall, our heads are high, and I wanna apologize. Oil and water, prince and pauper, not so far apart. They say it won't last, you'll move along, but if we're moving too fast, I know they're wrong, 'cause we are like invisible light in the dark. And there's an endless road on the edge of the map, so let's pack our hats in a burlap sack and go. Leaves are falling, we are stalling, seasons come and go. The winter's chill won't leave me ill. I'll fight, you'll fight. Toothpaste and lemonade, polka dots and stripes. You're a dark night, and I'm the day. We're a wreck, and that's alright. You're the pin that's sticking into me, the hand grenade. They say it won't last, you'll move along, but we're moving too fast. I know they're wrong, 'cause we are like invisible light in the dark. And there's an endless road on the edge of the map, so let's pack our hats in a burlap sack and go.
Wow, thank you, Jen, and thank you to everybody who sent in all those fabulous photos. What a lot of great memories and fun and experiences over this past year or so. Thank you also to everyone who's helped out over this past year. We have so many different ways to volunteer and help out the club, and what you see here is some of the many ways that people pitch in. And so right now, what I would like to do is do a special call out to everybody who helped out with the intro show tonight. And especially also the breakout folks who you will be able to chat with in just a minute. The whole club is volunteer led, and folks do it because they love the outdoors and they love this club. So again, thank you to all of you. And I will also mention that one of the ways that people do volunteer their time is to serve on the board of directors. And so our board runs through, or will serve through February, and then we will have a new board starting in March. And so if you are on a trip with any of these folks, be sure to thank them. But also, if you're curious about serving as a board member, feel free to ask them about some of the different positions. We'd love to have some new folks join us. And so with that, I think we will turn over to the breakout rooms. So we will have these breakout rooms. There is one more that didn't make it onto this slide. Suresh will also be staffing an astronomy breakout room. And so if you're interested in one or more of these topics, you will be able to join a breakout room. And so I think we'll stop sharing and I will open up the breakout room.
Thanks for watching this Minnesota Rovers presentation. If you want to see more, please click on the link to our channel or the subscribe button below. Thank you.